What happened to the music?
I killed it. Hello, everybody. This is Appa Brian and Appa Baseball Classics, bringing to you the next NFL Pick Show, Week 16. And this is the way too early pick show. We're on vacation next Monday for the week, so we're not able to do it on Tuesday. But we're here to put together the picks tonight, even though the action has not yet finished. We're joined with Dan Mattingly. Dan, great to have you back.
Yeah, nice to be back. We have had an interesting football week so far, haven't we?
Yes, we have. Justin was over today to watch the game with me at noon. Thought about doing a show at 3, but Justin was just off a 12-hour shift, and his eyes were starting to droop. At the end of the Chiefs game, it was about time for him to go back to bed. So
he was probably a little frustrated watching that Chiefs game too.
Oh my goodness, Maury left the day with a headache. Did you do?
Yeah, right. I don't blame him.
He had to go take about a 2-hour nap.
I wish I could take a 2-hour nap.
All right, let's get started. Our first game up is the Jacksonville Jaguars at the New York Jets. Jacksonville is now 6-8, and the Jets are now 7-7.
So I felt like watching today, the Jets were in their game. They absolutely could have won that game. Zach Wilson was, decent. I thought he was not accurate, but he moved the ball okay and got him to get a chance to win. Jacksonville, though, they look like they're ascending. They really do. Yeah, Lawrence has started to really trust his guys to go get balls. He's slinging it all around the field. Etienne is as dangerous a weapon as you can have at the running back position. And the defense, okay. I mean, they're giving up as many points as Lawrence can put up, it feels like, most of the time. But I know of another team who I watched play today that does that too. I think that the Jets are kind of trending down, and I think Jacksonville is trending up. Give me Jacksonville.
A lot of progress, especially in these last 5 weeks.
Sure has. On the fake here. Pressure coming, rolls away, steps in, has a man. Jones is open. He's got it inside the 10, diving for the end zone. Touchdown.
Jacksonville put away the Dallas Cowboys. Trevor Lawrence, another great day, 418 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 interception.
Yeah.
I think this time next year, we're going to be talking about him with Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, with the elite quarterbacks. He is really coming on. So I'm looking at Jacksonville and the Jets. I think Trevor Lawrence is better than Zach Wilson.
Yes, I think so too.
It looks like Zach Wilson has had the attitude adjustment. He was back in, did okay today. But it looked like the team was behind him. But we're not going to see Zach White. He's got three broken ribs from that hit last week. Broken ribs on both sides. Jeez. So, yeah, I don't think he's going to be back next week. I'm with you, Dan. I got Jacksonville. And Lori, who do you have?
Jacksonville.
We're good with Jacksonville all the way around. This is their probably the 3rd win in a row, isn't it?
Yeah. They're looking good.
All right, next up, we've got the Buffalo Bills at the Chicago Bears.
Man, the Bears played pretty well this week. They are a solid 3-win team this season. You say a lot about, they have found their quarterback. They're going to be a Justin Fields-led team. But they're also not very good. They don't have much on the defensive side of the ball. They traded most everything away that I was excited about with Smith and Quinn. The Bills are rolling. They look good. They have a couple hiccups here and there, but they seem to be able to muddle through. Knox, great. Josh Allen, he's so good with his legs that even when they're not moving the ball in the air, you're still worried because he can light you up. He had that 40-yard run that really set them up to win the game this week, really, since it is Sunday today. Give me the Bills.
On first down, Josh Allen on the keep, and Allen, oh no, except 3. The ball popping out at the end of the play. I believe Spencer Brown got on top of it. He did hit him as well, and on second down, an opening and some room to run for Singletary. Cut down, or rather James Cook.
Yeah, I thought I had the Josh Allen 40-yard run, but I had to put these together really quick.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to show that 40-yard run with Josh Allen. Well, it looks like you can defend Chicago by loading the box and spying Justin Fields. He only passed for about 150 yards again, and that's the way it normally is. Fields did have 95 yards rushing. Jalen Hurts had 61. I thought those two quarterbacks be an interesting competition to see who had the most rushing yards. Fields won that battle, but he didn't have the team around him that Hurts had. I'm with you, Dan. I got Buffalo winning this. They were challenged their last game, but I think this will be a bit of a breather.
I agree.
Lloyd?
Buffalo all the way. Josh Allen, it's so amazing. He's right up there with Mahomes or better. So,
okay, this is the Josh Allen. Let's see. I don't have the Christmas tree topper still, I guess, to show up there. So we're all with Buffalo. All right, next game is New Orleans at the Cleveland Browns.
Well, this would be a weird game either way. I kind of went back and forth on this one. These are two very similar teams in that they struggle offensively, and their defenses, while are expected to be good, sometimes really aren't that great. Cleveland really put it to the Ravens this week. The Saints eked out a close one against the Falcons. Neither was particularly impressive in my opinion, but I do think that Cleveland has the better defense. So in probably a very close 3-point game, I'll take the Browns.
All right, let's hope I have the right highlight on this.
Pressure coming. Dalton gets rid of it. It is caught. And it is Juwan Johnson again. There is a penalty marker thrown as well. We'll have to check the flag. But if it stands, Juwan Johnson has his second of the day. It is Johnson again.
Yes.
Yeah, Juwan Johnson had 2 touchdowns today receiving for New Orleans. You never know who's going to score for New Orleans or if they're going to put points on the board. Their defense is consistent. Again, Kamara was kind of disappointing in his effort. Cleveland game, low-scoring game. Looks like Deshaun Watson is starting to get somewhat plugged in. Didn't always make the right decisions. Passing was okay. Didn't try to run the ball much. But was better than his first couple of efforts. So I think he is coming. By the way, Justin gave me his picks. So first time this year we have Justin's picks. He picked Jacksonville and Buffalo so far. And in this game, Justin's picking New Orleans.
Hey.
So I think I'm going to break the tie and go with New Orleans. So I convinced that Deshaun Watson is up to his full capabilities. Chris Olave is pretty consistent on offense for New Orleans. Lori, who do you got?
It's a shoot. I just guessed at New Orleans. I'm going for that. So
Okay, we'll go with New Orleans.
there's
Houston.
not a lot of logic in mine. So
But hey, don't cut yourself short.
It's working.
Lori is the winner of the last 2 or 3 weeks.
I'm
12
not,
3 weeks ago. She's only lost a couple of games this week. She's going to win at least 12 this week. And it's been coming down between her and Bruins fan. Bruins fan beat her out last week, but she got the clinching one with him this week. So there's no way Lori can lose coming up this week. Next game is the Houston Texans at the Tennessee Titans.
Well, as we've seen this week and last week, the Texans are looking a little frisky. They're hanging with some elite teams. They probably should have had that game against the Cowboys, and man, they really gave it away against the Chiefs. It's one of those where I want to trust Tennessee. I do. I think they're the better team. I know they're better coached. I think that you have to trust that experienced hand there. They are trying to win, whereas the Texans they're trying to get as good a pick as they can get in this next draft. They need every position almost, other than maybe running back. They have a couple guys there, but Tennessee always thin at the receiver spot. Tannehill struggles today. Throwing a pick, just not a lot of places to go with the ball. And Derrick Henry's going to have to put him on his back for them to win, but I expect that to happen against the Texans.
Last I knew, I think that game went into overtime. Do you know who won that?
It is.
Or did Chargers win it at the end? I think they were lining up for a field goal at the end.
Yes. The Chargers won 17-14 on a last-second field goal.
Okay, so Tennessee is now 7-7. Houston's 1-12-1. Houston is a bunch of young guys there, I think, that are playing for their NFL lives. They out-hit the Chiefs in the game today. They really dealt out some blows. They can't stop the run. So I don't see them stopping Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry had a good game. He ran well. I think he had the most yards rushing. He had the most yards receiving.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do it alone, like you say. They're kind of a carbon copy of the New York Giants.
Yeah.
Star running back, no wide receivers, and it's at this time of the year, it's just not working out for them. I'm with Tennessee. Justin also picked Tennessee.
and Lori's picking Tennessee.
Lori says ditto. Next game up is the Seattle Seahawks at the Kansas City Chiefs. That's a noon. By the way, most of these games next week are Saturday. First game is Thursday, and all the games we're talking about now are Christmas Eve games, Saturday games. Seahawks are 7-7. Chiefs are 11-3.
Yep. Seahawks have taken a couple bad beats recently. Geno has, while looked okay, been a little shakier than what he kind of found around the third week of the season this year. Seattle's going to be in the game because the Chiefs can't put anybody away. And the Chiefs will be in the game because Seattle's defense really does let up a lot of points. It's going to be fun to watch. I think it'll be back and forth. I think there'll be a lot of explosive plays. And I have the Chiefs winning at home.
Brown a block. Game is over. Touchdown run. And they win.
Well, like the Cowboys, Kansas City barely survived getting a fumble in overtime. And then Jerick McKinnon, who had a great game, running in the rest of the way on the next play after the fumble for the touchdown. Kansas City had a lot to prepare for with Houston, more than you would think. They were running a 2-quarterback system with Driscoll, a running quarterback, and Davis Mills. We won't have to prepare for a 2-quarterback system with Seattle, but holy cow, we got to fix our secondary, or Geno Smith will eat us alive. Unless we get a lot of pressure. Now, Seattle's offensive line does not protect him very well.
No.
So I can't see us getting pressure on Geno Smith.
A lot of penalties. The yards. Almost 100 yards. Yeah, it was wild.
Oh my goodness. That third quarter drive where Houston got a touchdown, that was aided by 4 penalties, none of which I don't think were penalties.
The Snead one was terrible on third down.
And this is the same crew. What's the guy's name? Jeffers? Is that the right way?
Yep.
Yeah, he's the one that had the championship game last year with Seattle. Well, we've only had one other 10 penalty game, and I'll bet you it was his crew again. Because they were talking about this in the off week, I think maybe on Travis Kelce's show, New Heights. They were talking about the crew that they were going to have, or maybe Jason Kelce brought it up. This is the bunch that called the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty in the Colts game against Chris Jones.
Yep.
And the crew that called him roughing the passer, when he went down and stopped himself from falling on the quarterback with one hand. They said he didn't use 2 hands, but holy cow, he had the football in the other hand that he took away from the quarterback. That's the worst. That was the worst penalty I've seen in years. Now, we knew going into this game we're going to have to beat both the Texans and this crew. And, Justin thinks it's conspiracy with this crew, that they know we don't like him. And, boy, they went to town on that. There were 4 penalties, a PI where Snead didn't even touch the guy.
Yeah, that was indefensible. You have no excuse. They need to hold these guys accountable. They need to stick with them, and they have to do review. And they need to grade them like the players.
I think is in order.
Yeah.
There is a channel that Justin watches every week that talks about bad calls. I think he said it's about an hour YouTube show every week because there's so many. He said Justin said he bets this whole drive would be on that show.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Okay, Dan, you got the Chiefs.
Yes,
I got the Chiefs. And do you have the Chiefs, honey?
Boy, I don't know. Our secondary is just in shambles right now. I mean, there's 3 rookies back there. They've given up 15 touchdown passes. How many did they get today? 1 or 2?
2.
So now it's 30 touchdown passes, the most in the NFL. The run defense is 6th. We can stop the run.
Yeah. But nobody needs to run on us if they can throw.
We played a lot more. I've been calling for them to play more man-to-man. And they played more man-to-man today. But then one time they got burned on a long run, and that's the problem with man-to-man. You can get your whole half of the field in the secondary emptied out if all the receivers go to one side of the field. And that's what happened on one play, and they got about a 50-yard gain on that. That's why we play some zone. But we've got a lot of work to do in that secondary if we're going to not be a 1-9 in the playoffs. And that's kind of what I'm afraid of. Lori, what you got on this game?
Well, I have KC, but who do you have?
You
Can I tell you next Saturday about the flag?
No.
I'm gonna go ahead with Kansas City because I think our pass rush will be fine. And Mahomes was, he's on a mission. He's on pace to get over 5,000 yards passing. Had another 330 or so today with 2 touchdown passes. I think he's got 30 or 32, something like that.
He's up to 32.
32, so that leads the league, and his yards leads the league. I knew he wouldn't throw any picks today.
No.
Yeah, I knew that would not happen after last week. So I'm going to take Kansas City. I think Seattle. The one thing for sure in this game, if you bet the overs, take the over. There may not be any punts unless Seattle comes in there thinking that they're going to try to control the game with Kenny Walker. I don't think they'll be able to. but they may try to do that, but I would take the over. Next game is the New York Giants and the Minnesota Vikings. We don't know the Giants play later. We know what happened to the Vikings this week.
Man, jeez, they tried their hardest to lose to the Colts until the very end of the game. Well, the Vikings are the worst 11-3 team in league history. There's statistical evidence to back this up, I promise.
Well, there is.
It's bad. It's really, really strange. They're a weird team. Their defense is a sieve. They kind of just count on Justin Jefferson to have an incredible outing in order for them to carry the day. Their running game is inconsistent. Cook had a good day today, but that's against the Colts. This is going to be a strange game. I think the Vikings should win. I'm going to put my hat in the ring with the Vikings. But, the Giants play good defense. They just have fallen off offensively so far that I just don't believe that they can stay with very many teams when it comes to scoring. They're just Jones is not able to find receivers. Saquon, I'm sure by the end of the season they're going to tell us he's been injured for weeks now because he just does not look right from what we saw earlier in the year. Give me the Vikings. They'll probably have to come back from 17 points down in the fourth quarter, but they've shown that they can do that.
The one stat that the Vikings have is that they are 10-0 in one-score games. Their offensive points is like only 2 over what they've given up on defense. So they're about a 50-50 team, but you can't say they don't know how to win close games. They know how to win in the close games. Saquon is fighting a neck injury. So, he's still good, but he's not 100% Saquon. So there's no way the Giants are going to get up 33-0 on that game. I wonder how many people turned their TV off after the Colts were up 33-0 at halftime.
Everybody.
Oh my goodness. And then the Avalanche kind of started right at the beginning of the third quarter, and pretty early on, I'm thinking, holy cow.
They're going to do it.
They might do it. And isn't it ironic? It's the biggest comeback in NFL history. The man who previously had the biggest comeback in NFL history is Frank Reich, who was fired in lieu of just Saturday when he had that game in the playoffs against the Houston Oilers. He's the one who held the record. Yeah. Now he gets fired, and his successor gives up the record that he once held.
That's a tough day for everybody involved.
It's been a bad month for poor guy, Reich.
What did he do?
I'm with Minnesota, and Justin picked, first of all, Kansas City in the last game, and he also picked Minnesota. And Lori, who you got?
Minnesota's on a roll. I'm just going to let them go with it.
We're all on Minnesota. Next game is the Cincinnati Bengals against the New England Patriots, who just gave up one at the end of the Raiders.
Yeah, they could have had that game, and they needed that game. I really thought they'd come out a little sharper, but when Matt Patricia's calling your plays,
defensive coordinator,
yeah, you're going to struggle. I never understood that. I mean, I understand there's a lot of loyalty there, and there's a lot of years with Belichick and these guys, but they're not good. Joe Judge and Matt Patricia are not good at what they do, and he's having them in spots that they never even came up doing. They're not in good places to succeed. They're messing with a second-year quarterback that needs stability and just tunnel vision as far as play calling. They're forcing him into bad spots. I don't understand what's going on with the Patriots. They have a decent defense. They can put up points. Ramondre Stevens is really fun to watch run the ball. A guy that big, that is that agile, he should be even more of a force than he is. But they're trapped doing probably 70% of the passing game is bubble screens. That's not going to do it. And they really haven't surrounded Jones with receivers. There's nobody in that building that scares a defensive coordinator. Not one person that I can think of. So another wasted year for the Patriots. I was kind of hoping to see a little bit more out of them. The Bengals, they should take care of business. They started slow against the Bucs, but have shown that they're as explosive as anybody on offense. Burrow, it looks like he's getting buried 1 second, and then all of a sudden he's finding people for 30-plus yards, and they're just rolling. Give me the Bengals.
Yeah, the New England Patriots, they're falling behind the Chargers now and falling behind Miami in the playoff race. So New England is 7-7. Those teams are 8-6. Cincinnati has moved to 10-4 with their victory over Tampa Bay today. It looked like New England was going to pull it out today. They had that 39-yard pass to Jacoby Myers, who is back this week. He's the number one receiver. And then the 34-yard run by Stevenson. But, boy, I hate those plays where everybody starts throwing the ball pell-mell at the end of the game, trying to recreate the Stanford highlight of the ages. And this time the ball went straight to Chandler Jones, the expatriate who took it in for a touchdown. It's not a pick six, I guess. What do you call that? A lateral six?
Lateral six. There you go. I'm going to steal that.
Well, I'm glad he did it because to Rob's channel, we had 5 differences this week, which we lost the first 4, and it looked like we were going to lose that one. But we pulled it out there in the last 3 seconds. So now we're only 3 behind Rob's channel. Cincinnati, they coaxed four turnovers out of Tom Brady and the Buccaneers in that third quarter, back to back on 4 straight drives. I think they were missing Trey Hendrickson, but they were still had enough to take care of Tampa Bay. And now they moved to 10-4. I'm okay with them keep winning, especially when they go to Buffalo.
Yeah, let's see that.
That win in Buffalo, big time. Yeah. For most people, next week's game, Philly and Dallas is the game of the year. Cincinnati, Buffalo is our game of the year.
Yes.
I'm with Cincinnati, and Justin picked Cincinnati.
And Lori picked Cincinnati.
And Lori's got Cincinnati. Next game is Detroit Lions at the Carolina Panthers.
Well, the Panthers might have ruined their season. Except, the NFC South is that bad. They're still in it. They really should have. They needed the game today. I really thought that they could have come in and taken it, but kind of blew that one. I don't ever know what to make of that team. They're okay. They're right there in the middle of the pack. They're going to finish right around 500. But the Lions are on a tear. The Lions look great. They're figuring things out throughout the season. They're getting these young players opportunities, and they're making the most of them. Jamal Williams is phenomenal. They've figured out how to balance out the defensive line for Hutchinson to open things up for him. They've got 2 young guys in the secondary with Okudah and a third-round guy that are playing pretty well. Amon-Ra St. Brown is keeping pace with everybody in the league so far as receiving, other than a couple of games he missed with injuries. I love this Lions team. They're on fire. Give me them this week.
Trying to keep this drive alive. Goff. Little pitch to right. Big gain. Brock Wright is going to take it the distance. Touchdown, Lions. The Jets were completely fooled.
Fourth down, minute and a half to play. That's a touchdown that won the game for Detroit this week. And you're right, they are on a tear. 1-6 first 7 games, and since then they've gone 6-1. And I said a week or two ago, I think they have a great chance to win out. They have another game, I think, with the Vikings.
Yes.
Did Aiden Hutchinson play today? He was sick or something.
Right.
Do you know if he played?
Unfortunately, that one was blocked out for me, so I just got to watch highlights of that one.
Yeah.
He was out.
Yeah, okay, he was out. Hopefully he'll be well next week for when they play Carolina. Detroit's amazing. I think their coach is amazing. I think they're a power now in the NFL. It came quicker than we thought. The first 7 games, it was not looking good, and we were wondering how could they stay with Dan Campbell. Now we know. And of course, after about the 3rd week, I was calling for them to fire their defensive coordinator, and he has kind of turned around the defense.
He heard you.
Like you say.
Aaron Glenn.
Yeah, Aaron Glenn. That's his name.
Mm-hmm.
They've added, now they've got Aeneas Williams from Alabama, and he could stretch the field, and that opens up the underneath for Amon-Ra St. Brown. So that's going to be a combination for teams to think about going forward.
Oh, yeah. And the receiver they got in the draft, Williams, will be a threat too.
Carolina was a little disappointed. I thought they would win this week. Didn't happen. So you got Detroit. Justin, I got Detroit too, and Justin has Detroit.
Lori is Detroit.
Okay, next up, this one's going to be kind of hard to figure. Atlanta Falcons at the suddenly toothless Baltimore Ravens. Or beakless, whatever happens to birds win before they get killed.
Well, that was the best analogy of the show so far. I liked it a lot. These are 2 very unexciting birds that we're hopefully not going to have to watch next week. This is a game that, I'll find out about after it's over. Don't expect much excitement on either side. I just don't know how the Ravens are going to play offense. Lamar Jackson was everything for that offense. That was their whole game plan, was Lamar Jackson. We're going to let him create. And then, he goes out and they get the Huntley combo and they lose one of those guys. And, it's too hard to replicate what that guy does for that offense. They've got J.K. Dobbins back, but everybody knows ball's going to him, stack the box, and it's kind of done. I think the Falcons have more options on offense than the Ravens do. I know they do. I would be very surprised if the Ravens are in this game late. Give me the Falcons.
Yeah, I'm whiting out. I wrote down Baltimore, but I'm going to white that out and go with Atlanta too. They're not playing terribly inspiring football, but Desmond Ridder, he started today, didn't go well.
No,
but it didn't go well the first day Deshaun Watson played, so maybe he'll be better next week. Marcus Peters left the Raven game early and didn't come back. That'll be a loss for Baltimore if he can't come back. I've got Atlanta. Justin has Atlanta. Lori, what do you think?
Atlanta.
Atlanta is 5-9. Baltimore's 9-5, but Huntley he is the same kind of quarterback as Lamar Jackson, but he just does not have the talent.
No.
Neither throwing, decision making is kind of way behind Lamar Jackson. So yeah, I think it's going to be Atlanta. Next game up is the Commanders. And this is a pretty team.
Oh boy. Whew. They got a lot of toys now, don't they? The Niners are a juggernaut. They're not somebody that anybody wants to see. If I was the Eagles, I would just hope not to see this 49ers team in the playoffs because, man, how do you cover them? They have speed and talent all over the field. You really have to pick your poison with these guys on offense. On defense, it's a buzzsaw. You've got to go through, so many levels of high caliber talent on the Niners defense that it's almost impossible to game plan an offense around it. They've got a lot of game breakers, game wreckers over there on defense. And I would not want to be Tyler Heineke in this game. They have been a great story. The Commanders are playing well. Their defense is starting to step up. If they could get Chase Young back in the fold for this game, that would be phenomenal. But they're kind of like the 49ers light. They just aren't quite as talented. I don't think they can put up as many points. I'm really impressed with Purdy. Give me the Niners.
We don't know. We're doing the show here on Sunday before the Washington Commanders and New York Giants game. I think the Commanders are going to win that game tonight, and if they do, they're going to be
or tie spectacularly again,
which would make it the first team in NFL history to have two ties in one season
with the same team against the same team. Yeah, that would be impressive.
Yeah, 8-5-1 though I think is what their record's going to be when it's all said and done tonight. Yeah, we know San Francisco.
Actually, it did happen one other time. In 1963, the Eagles and the Steelers tied twice.
Oh,
isn't that weird?
Yeah, 63 Eagles and Steelers. Was Sonny Jurgensen with the Eagles back then?
I believe so, man.
Sonny Jurgensen was one of my all-time favorites.
Oh, yeah, that was my dad's favorite. He always called him Fat Sonny. He said he could really play basketball. He had a great stroke from deep. Yeah, he went and watched them because they used to practice near where they were at. They're in Maryland, so they would go see, and they'd play pickup basketball, and Jurgensen was one of the better players.
He didn't look like an athlete, but you watch him in football, he was athletic.
Yeah. Yeah, 63, twice in the same year. And I can't find Jurgensen. Sorry. I'll let you know next time, okay?
Well, I can look that up on Pro Football Reference when we're off camera. We've been talking about San Francisco stars all year long, and one we forgot to mention is Travarius Ward.
Yeah.
He has become a shutdown corner for that team. And we, in Kansas City, we are really missing him.
Yeah.
Big time.
I'm surprised they let him go.
Yeah, McDuffie kind of had another kind of rough game today. It wasn't good.
No.
So that's 2 in a row for him. He had some good games, but he's going through a learning process. And speed it up, Trent. we're gonna need you. Commanders, Chase Young is not as healthy as I thought he was. He might not be playing tonight, I don't think.
No, it doesn't look like it.
Yeah, that's a problem. But Brock Purdy, I didn't know he would go up to Seattle and deal. It was their first road game since late October, and deal with all the noise. And they came full throat. It was quite a game, and it was noisy, and it didn't bother him at all.
No,
I mean he was just as calm as could be.
Yeah.
So I think San Francisco has stumbled upon their future. Maybe it's not Trey Lance.
Maybe not. Especially with how Trey Lance looked in his first game.
Mr. Irrelevant, the last pick of the draft last year, And then Zach Wilson was, I think, the second pick of the draft 2 years ago.
Mhm.
And Zach is not quite getting along. It's not a science. It's more of an art, this NFL draft thing. And I can't wait till next April when it's in our backyard. We're looking to find, we got to make friends with somebody on the other side of the building so we can maybe do the show with a view of that in the background and something like that.
That would be cool.
Oh, yeah. So I've got San Francisco. Justin's got San Francisco, and Lori
has San Francisco. They're just on a roll. They are unbeatable, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
They just have all the elements.
I can't wait.
The
Cowboys won a few games and they have a nice record. And Skip Bayless comes on his show and pounds the table. How about those Cowboys? I don't think the Cowboys are as good as the Niners. And that's the game we're going to talk about. This could be the game of the year. Philadelphia Eagles go to Dallas. They're going to be wearing their black helmets. I thought I had a black helmet, but I don't. The Jets are going to be wearing their black helmets next week. We're going all black. And so are the Eagles in Dallas, but I guess I don't have a black Eagle now. I got to fix that in the future.
Fair. The Eagles are so complete. They have a way to win almost any kind of game they get into, and win it convincingly. That offensive line is incredible. The defense, it holds up. It makes stops when the offense needs stops. The Cowboys, great defense that sometimes just doesn't quite perform up to expectations. Like this week, Jacksonville was really able to take it to them. They weren't able to get home to Trevor Lawrence, and he made them pay. It's an interesting Dallas team. I think that they're fairly good. They've got good weapons. I thought 85 really kind of let him down today with a couple of balls that he just almost, it was like a set to the defender for Jacksonville that really lost them the game. Prescott, though, not as accurate as he needs to be. I don't trust him in big games. I just don't really see it. They've got all the pieces, but I think that Philly is better coached, and I think that they're better in the trenches, and that's going to be the difference. That and Hurts. I trust Hurts a lot more than I trust Dak.
Yeah, Hurts had a little bit of trouble today. I think he threw 2 interceptions, which brings him up to 5. He had 3 going into the game. I still got Jalen Hurts in my MVP conversation. I got Mahomes on top. I didn't talk about his day. Well, we did a little bit. Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. But we'll see who goes farther and who gets to the Super Bowl. But Jalen Hurts is definitely in the MVP conversation. Dallas needs to go back to running the ball when they had Cooper Rush playing quarterback, because they're kind of rolling the dice when they cut Dak loose. And he did get their offensive numbers up. They went from, low rated in yards and points in the league to where they got up to number 2, I think, going into last week behind the Chiefs. But I think it's going to be a one and done for Dallas if they don't go back to that running game and managing the game. And the pass rush has been kind of quiet the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So,
Parsons has not been making much noise.
I've not been able to talk about our KU guy Armstrong either, Lawrence Armstrong.
But you did manage it this week.
But not for something good.
Right. True.
I'm with you. I've got Philadelphia. If somebody's going to beat them, I got to see it to believe it. They, like you said, they've got so many ways to win the game. A.J. Brown is a true number 1.
Yep.
Devontae Smith would be a number one if they didn't have A.J. Brown. And the tight end, I don't think he played today, but he's close to getting back.
Goddard, yeah.
Yeah, he is close to getting back, and he is a big part of their offense. So I'm with Philadelphia. He might be back next week. Justin has got Philadelphia. And
Lori's got Philadelphia too. They're just too good. They can't be beaten.
I like our center, Clyde Humphrey, but you look at Philadelphia's offensive line, Jason Kelsey is right there with him. I mean, he's not as big as Humphrey, but he is fast. Yep. He makes clean blocks, stays on his blocks. He is very good and very mobile. He's probably the most mobile center out there. Next up is the Las Vegas Raiders in the 50th anniversary of the Immaculate Conception game, which will be on national TV. Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, Pittsburgh played well today. They look good with Mitch Trubisky. I thought that, they're playing for Mike Tomlin. They really are. And they're playing well. Pickens is a tough wide out there. Deontay Johnson is playing much better than he was earlier in the season. And that defense is tough. The Raiders are getting healthy is kind of the counter to this. They have a lot of their weapons back. Darren Waller looked good today. Renfro's back. He's still kind of getting healthy. Hollins made a big touchdown catch. And, of course, Adams and Jacobs are still there. That's going to be a tough ask with Pickett out. I think that the Raiders are going to start rolling a little bit after a pretty good win against the Patriots. They got a big win against the Chargers a couple weeks ago. They don't have a lot to play for here, but, there's an outside chance of them winning out. I think they'll go into Pittsburgh and steal a game.
As we go into the final quarter of the season, the AFC West is beginning to look a little bit like what people thought going into the season. Denver winning today. Chargers are on a little bit of a roll. And now Las Vegas is 6-8. They'll be facing Mitch Trubisky, who is 6-8. And I would take Derek Carr over Mitch Trubisky any day, especially in the 2-minute offense. Carr is outstanding. They got Darren Waller back. Waller came up huge in a couple of instances. He got a touchdown pass as well. And they haven't had Waller all year. They really haven't had their receiving core together, much like Los Angeles Chargers. They haven't had them together all year, basically. That little guy, Rush Jones, the cornerback for New England, he shut down Devontae Adams.
He did.
One pass for 9 yards through the first 3 quarters, and then they stopped trying. And then he moved him over to Mac Hollins. And Carr does not have the he just doesn't have the connection. He's not synced up as well with Mac Hollins. Mac Hollins looks like he's having a ball playing football, but I'm not sure he's the brightest guy on the block. And I mean, if you watch, I've watched a few Raiders games, and there's lots of misconnections between him and his quarterback. Whereas you don't see misconnections between him and Devontae Adams. I don't know how that little guy covered Devontae Adams today. He was giving up like 6 inches.
Yeah, he was tough.
But he played him. Jacobs has kind of fallen off a little bit of late. And Pittsburgh is on a mission. You picked the Raiders?
I did. Pittsburgh really wants Tomlin to have a 500 season.
They got a chance. They're 6-8. If they win out, it will be.
Yep.
So they're playing really motivated. I don't know if T.J. Watt's going to get fully healthy at all the rest of the year. I doubt it. So that's kind of a problem. But their defensive secondary is really good. And I could see them picking off Derek Carr a couple times.
Everybody does, it seems like.
I'm down with Pittsburgh in this game. I know Vegas was lucky to win this game.
Yeah.
They fell apart in the second half. It was all New England until the very end. I'm gonna put down Pittsburgh. Justin went with Pittsburgh. Lori, who do you love more, your son-in-law or your husband? No, I don't mean to put it that way.
Whoa.
Wow.
The stakes of that pick went way up.
Well, to me, it's a motivation thing. Which team is motivated more to win? And I think that the idea that Pittsburgh is trying to get to 500 might motivate them. But I feel like Las Vegas
is not out of the playoffs yet.
No, they're playing for playoffs.
Yeah, but Vegas seems like it's got a stronger team. So I think I'm going to go with Vegas. Sorry, honey.
That's
It just, I have so much knowledge in this game. You guys can tell by how much I just contribute to the commentary
you
here.
win every week. Stop apologizing.
Yeah, hey, come on.
And really, I'm wondering why in the world am I not picking every pick that you pick? Next game up is the Green Bay Packers and Miami Dolphins.
Man, did the Dolphins season change fast.
For sure.
They are in free fall right now. Lot has gone wrong. I think that the book's out on Tua. You can stop him.
And they've kind of forgotten about Gesicki, their tight end, too. I mean, they just stopped throwing the ball.
Yeah, he's been so focused and so conditioned to focus on Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle all season that he's forgotten how to do anything else. And it's a problem because as good as those guys are, and they'll get theirs. Tyreek Hill, probably 100 yards a game every game. I mean, it's almost – you can't shut him down. Waddle had a big game, and, they're still losing.
Yeah, Waddle had me going like that too, because we were rooting for Miami big time, because we want to be number one. Waddle had me excited there.
Yeah, no, he had some plays. That being said, the Packers are they're kind of a fumes team. They don't have much in the passing game other than Watkins, the stud rookie receiver. Randall Cobb is out of gas. You can really see it when, Rodgers is forcing it in there to him, and it's just not happening. You'd like to see the tight ends step up more in the Green Bay offense, but they're not. Defensively, Green Bay isn't the most inspiring team. They can play a little, but they kind of had their teeth taken out with the free agents that they let go in the offseason, as we've mentioned before. And, unless Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon are able to control this game, I think that the Dolphins are going to run away with it. I just think that they're better able to score, and I think they're going to be highly, highly motivated to get back on track before the playoffs.
I was really surprised by the fight that Miami put up in Buffalo. We were hoping for 6 to 8 inches of snow. It came before the game, but then it got snowy in the fourth quarter. And Miami really blended in with the field quite well with those white and green uniforms. We thought maybe they'll win by deception, but the snow didn't come early enough for that to kick in. Mostert had a big game. He was breaking tackles right and left.
Yeah,
it was cold, and it looked like Buffalo did not want to tackle him. But like you say, their offense has fallen out of balance. They keep concentrating on Waddle and Hill, and they've completely forgotten Gesicki. And, teams are coming in saying, if you want to beat us with Mostert, knock yourself out, So I think it's and Tua has not been as accurate as he was. He was once in the MVP when they lost to the Chargers played press man coverage against the receivers, and they did it right. When you get up there on the line of scrimmage with that wide receiver, you get your hands on it and you do something to him in the first 5 yards to make a misstep or change his route. They did it right, and it really paid off for the Chargers. The Buffalo Bills tried to do the same thing, a lot of man-to-man press coverage, but they didn't do it right. They didn't get sometimes they didn't even get their hands on the guy. So it didn't really help Buffalo very much. Green Bay, I don't know what you're going to get, except I know this: you're going to get the reverse. At this time of the year, you usually worry about teams going, the warm teams and the indoor teams going to 10-degree and 20-degree weather and playing under those conditions. But it's equally tough for the northern teams to go down and play in a warm and humid game in Miami. And if it's like 70 or 80 degrees,
think of the cramps.
Cramps, and it's going to take a toll on Green Bay.
I think that cold front is still
Is it hit the south?
taking over the country, and Miami is not going to be 70 or 80. That's for sure. Well, that will not be a factor
next week.
I don't think so.
No. Well, anyway, I'm rooting for Miami. Anyway, I'm picking Miami to win this game. Justin picked Miami.
Lori picks Miami.
Yeah, Lori picks Miami. All right, next up, the Denver Broncos at the Baker Mayfield Los Angeles Rams.
There it is. Game of the week. No, not at all. So this is going to be a tough game to watch. I don't foresee this getting over 20 points by either team. I don't know how to pick this game. It's really kind of a coin toss of two teams that are trying to put a bow on a pretty ugly season. And it's not going to look good either way. So, kind of went back and forth. I figure, if Baker can look that good with 2 days off a plane in LA with Sean McVay, maybe they've got a shot here, because I really don't love anything that I see from the Broncos. Good defense, not much on offense unless they play the Chiefs. And in a tough game, give me the Rams.
Okay, Brett Ripien had to play this week for Denver at quarterback, and looks like they took the game out of his hands and went to the running game. Latavius Murray had over 100 yards and a touchdown. And Marlon Mack, who scored a touchdown against the Chiefs, also scored a touchdown today too. The Denver game was only one of two to not finish either in overtime or with one score. The NFL is in a mad dash to make everybody a 500 team, it looks like. How do we pick these games? I mean,
it's impossible.
It's been a rough year picking games. You got the Rams. I watched that game last weekend. Mayfield was great in the fourth quarter, but the first three quarters, he was Baker Mayfield.
Yes.
And I'm kind of betting that he's going to be back to Baker Mayfield when he faces Denver's defense. Rams still don't have a lot of running game. I don't think Aaron Donald played today. And he's dealing with a high ankle sprain. He may not be back next week either. By the way, this is the second game on Christmas. All the games we've been talking about are Saturday games. The Green Bay-Miami game is the noon game on Christmas. Denver-LA is the second game, and Tampa Bay-Arizona, which we'll talk about next, is the night game on Christmas. I'm down with Denver. I think they're kind of on a little. They maybe have had an epiphany when they play the Chiefs, and I actually think, we've been complaining about Hackett all year and his coaching, and he got off to a horrible start. I actually thought he outcoached us when they played the Chiefs in that game. So maybe he's kind of getting it together a little bit. We may find out that Mayfield has a super great connection with Sean McVay, and like what happened in the fourth quarter might be the true picture. But I'm not a believer yet. I think I got to see that again. I'm picking Denver.
I don't blame you there.
Well, I'm from Denver, so I have to pick Denver. So, and they're on a roll. They're on a roll. I feel like they've kind of gotten something together. They have to prove. They have something to prove right now because they've had such a horrible season.
People, in a situation like that, are kind of playing for their jobs.
Yeah.
And those can be some pretty motivated cats. Tampa Bay at Arizona. That's a team that I think is packed it in, Arizona.
Yeah, they're well. Colt McCoy went out with a concussion, and I just don't think that Arizona wants to play for Cliff Kingsbury anymore. They're barely there. You'd say, guys would be playing for their jobs, their NFL lives, in a situation like that. But man, these Cardinals are not playing hard. They are really just they'll give up running yards, they'll give up passing yards. They really can't find any identity. They don't have the ability to pivot to a running game consistently. Tampa Bay is floundering as well. I mean, they're allergic to scoring over 20 points in a game. They really don't seem to have the capacity for some reason. But they might not need to against the Cardinals. Give me Tampa. They're playing for the playoffs. I think they want to try to make a little bit of noise.
All right. All year long, Brady has not had much of a connection with Mike Evans. But today that changed. They seem to be on the same page today. But Tampa Bay we talked about this earlier, they had 4 turnovers in a row in the third quarter. It looked like they might have a great shot at upsetting the Bengals.
Yeah, they did.
Minus Trey Hendrickson.
Weren't they up 17-3?
Yeah, and then Cincinnati was trying to come back, and they had this huge 30-yard sack against Joe Burrows, and they were like on the 20, and they sacked him at the 50. It almost looked like George Plimpton, and but that got wiped out by a penalty, so they didn't get that.
Those refs.
Arizona their offense is kind of gone bland because they can't really run the ball. James Conner has been kind of disappointing. It's Arizona. They gave up last year, and we're seeing the same thing again this year. But who do they go get? I mean, if they fire Kingsbury, who's going to want to come in there and take over a team that doesn't have a number 1 quarterback for all the offseason and probably most of the next season? It's going to be a while before we see Kyler Murray back.
Yeah.
With the ACL tear.
But they do have the immortal Trace McSorley II that they can trot out next week.
They play at Penn State.
Yeah, Penn State. He's tough. I loved him in college.
He was tough. I mean, you couldn't beat the guy up, but it was.
The passing game was rough for him.
Yeah,
it was tough.
Looks like we're all. Justin has Tampa Bay over Arizona. There's just a dead football team right now. Who do you got?
I got Tampa Bay. I think that they want to win a few more games for Brady.
All right. December 26th, the Monday night game is Jeff Saturday Indianapolis Colts, who have been beat up, give up 54 points 2 weeks ago, and now blow the biggest lead in NFL history last week. Where do you go from there?
I mean, that is rock bottom. I'm pretty sure they've hit it. It's high point of their season was great Matt Ryan led fourth quarter upset of the Chiefs, and now they've lost in some of the worst fashion in NFL history the past 2 weeks. Actually, probably combined the worst. Blow a 33-point lead and give up 54 points. They gave up 33 points in that fourth quarter to Dallas. And, we saw Dallas be fairly shaky the last 2 weeks.
They gave up 34 to Minnesota.
Oh, okay. No. I'm saying the week before.
Oh, yeah, the week before. Yeah, the Dallas.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. That was a huge fourth quarter. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So the Colts are reeling. They're in a lot of trouble. I'm sure Saturday will have the job next year, whether or not he should or not. That's up for debate. I like the guy. I loved him as a player. But man, they're finding very creative ways to lose spectacularly lately. Chargers are starting to get things in gear. They're moving the ball fairly well. Herbert looks healthy. He's moving finally. You can see that probably that rib injury he had earlier in the year is finally cleared up. And the defense looks pretty good. Give me the Chargers. I think they'll win this one pretty easy.
In the Indianapolis game last week or this week, Jonathan Taylor went out with an ankle injury and did not return. So if you put it all on the back of Matt Ryan without Jonathan Taylor, it's going to be even more difficult. When they made that change, I kind of thought the owner was tanking to get the highest possible draft pick because he's done that before.
Yes. The Andrew Luck year.
And maybe that's what he's doing again. Pass over, assistant coaches that got 22 to 40 years of experience. And you wonder how that's selling on the coaching staff that has to try to give their best for a coach that has no experience. We talked about that. The media talked about that. And now I think we're seeing the fruits. I think Indianapolis has got no chance against the Chargers. The Chargers are rejuvenated and finally healthy with all the receivers back. Justin Herbert had a little bit of a tough game today. He threw 2 interceptions. But, he's Justin Herbert. I mean, he's terrific. He now has, in his first 3, we talked about last week, he has more yards than anybody in NFL history his first 3 years. But now he's got more touchdowns than anybody at this point in his career in NFL history. Passing, Andrew Luck, and Peyton Manning. So I still think their offense, they got Ebert, but their offense still starts with Austin Eckler. He's a physical specimen. I think the Chargers are going to get in the playoffs. Yeah. And I think whoever gets them are not going to be happy because that team is coming the last 2 weeks. They gave up rushing all year long, but that we saw Charger Chiefs game, that Sebastian Day guy, Sebastian Day, that guy is a run stopper.
Mm-hmm.
Like Quillen Williams is. And by the way, Quillen Williams didn't play today for the Jets. I hope he's back next week for them. But I'm with the Chargers. I think they're kind of what we thought they'd be at the beginning of the year. Give me the Chargers. Lauren?
I'll go with the Chargers too. You need to fire your production person. Yeah, the Chargers are on a roll. They've got a lot to prove. They're gonna end the season well.
They don't. Let's hope they don't get. If we get right now, I think the Chargers are the last seed in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So if we end up in the first seed, do we get the Chargers first game?
If we end up with the second seed, yeah, we would play the Chargers.
Oh yeah, second seed. Yeah, if we end up, we really need Cincinnati because
Yep.
every time we play, the Chargers know us, like Cincinnati
do.
knows us, and it's a barn burner every time we get on the field with the Chargers. It's going to be we need to get that one seed and get a bye, and hopefully somebody else beats them in the playoffs.
Would be nice.
Well, that's another pick show. Thank you, Dan, for joining us.
Yeah.
We missed you last week, but somehow we got a lot of views on that show. We got 85 views, I think.
Oh, there you go. Well, hey, I'll have to sit out more often.
No.
But
No,
no,
Dan.
Views because we added Apple Lawyer. That's why we got so many views.
Oh, I don't think so.
there you are. That's what it is. Well, no, it was fun. We had the anniversary, so needed to go out and do that. So I appreciate you giving me the week off there, boss. That's good.
Thank you for taking care of our daughter.
Of course. 9 years. It's been great. So thanks so much, guys. Always so much fun, Brian. Thanks for putting this on.
Thank you, Lori, for joining us. And you do add a lot to the show. I love it. And by the way, maybe by the time we get to the last week, I'm going to pick whoever you pick. I'm going with you.
Well, wait a minute. We got to talk about. Are you going to talk about Rob's show, the picks for Rob's show? Because we have everybody's in
We got
agreement.
slaughtered this week.
Oh, did we?
Do I wear the black sweatshirt next time?
No. So New Orleans and Cleveland is the game that we don't have agreement on. So you need to decide on which game. And you don't have
Well, it was 3-1. I think I was the only one on Cleveland, I believe. So I think you should go with New Orleans.
Yeah. So Jacksonville, Buffalo, we got in 3-2 or 3-1. Well, Cleveland, let's go with New Orleans. Tennessee, Kansas City, Minnesota, Cincinnati, Detroit, Atlanta, San Francisco, Philly. A little disagreement with Pittsburgh and Vegas. We're 2-2 there.
And also the Denver Rams game too.
Lori, you won last week, so you picked between Pittsburgh and Vegas.
No.
I'm twisting your arm. You will help us win because you're winning every week. Who do you like, Pittsburgh or Vegas?
I'm going to go Vegas.
Okay. And we're tied 2-2 on Denver Rams.
Oh, Justin took the Rams. Interesting.
Yeah, Justin took the Rams. You took the Rams. And Lori and I took Denver.
You should take Denver, Lori.
Come
on, hometown solidarity.
No, but what Dan, which one do you think is a stronger team? You think the Rams can win?
I think they can win.
The Rams have no offensive line, and Denver's got a defensive line.
Yeah, that it's kind of one of those where I just had a feeling about that game, and I usually lose those, Lori. So you should go with the Broncos on that.
Okay, we're going with the Broncos. Now you guys are going to point the finger at me when we lose.
I think we're good. This might be the first week we go 14-0.
Oh, stop.
Love it.
You guys are hilarious.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We're going on vacation. We will see you next Tuesday on NFL Picks to Post.